Greatest heavyweight in the world!
You want to the fire with it. Honestly,
Shroud knockout. Oh! Your new welterweight champion! Oh my goodness!
Welcome back to the Sports Money MMA coverage of UFC Vegas 109. We've got Roman Dolidze, Anthony Hernandez battling at the Apex. And I've got Apex Predators of the Octagon here, MMA Jeff, Subhuman Gaucho. And we're going to bring you guys 3 of our early looks to try to beat the books. We've got some big plus money opportunities to cash with here tonight. Fights, of course, will be Saturday. We'll be going live around 4:15, 4:20 p.m. for what looks like a 4:30 p.m. Eastern start. So you're going to want to plan accordingly. Looks like we've got about 11 fights on the card. This has been a mix and match for the last couple of weeks as they tried to fill the UFC pay-per-view card, UFC Vegas 108, which was an incredibly successful result live. And now we're here for UFC 109. A couple of short notice spots there. Steve Ersig was supposed to take on Haesung Park. Fortunately, he was in the main event last week, and we were able to cash on him getting subbed very quick. It was embarrassing. So we'll see how this fight card works out. There's a couple of WMMA bouts. I've got the fellas here ready to attack. MMA Jeff, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I think they actually added a fight, so I think we're back up to 12 fights on this card. But yeah, there's been a lot of mixing and matching. I've heard a lot of negativity on this card. We like the Apex fights, and they're always exciting. I'm excited for this card. I think there's some pretty good matchups out there, and I'm looking forward to it.
A lot of people were hating on last week's card too, and it's like, who are you to decide what's going to be a good card or not? Yep. Get in there and make some, keep a positive attitude first and foremost, and see what you can do to generate some results. We had a great card. We had a great live stream. It was like 8-3 or 9-3. We're just cashing. And that's a lot of fun. Making money is a lot of fun. I know this guy's been making a lot of money, Subhuman Gaucho. How you doing?
Good, man. Yeah, it's been a really nice run lately. I can see why people are down on this card, but yeah, as you said, man, they were down on last week's card, and that ended up being a great Apex card. I mean, I had a lot of fun watching that. Maybe it's not the best card ever. We have a lot to look forward to though. There's PFL at noon on Saturday. Dana White Contender Series on Tuesday. Like a lot of good stuff coming up. So
we got a lot of our fighters in this one too. We talked a little bit about backstage some of these fighters that we've got in here. I mean, this seemed like we've bet on quite a few of these here. We've got Cody Brundage, Stoliarenko may most likely get rinsed, but we saw her take down Meatball. We've seen some folks like Jocelyn Edwards. Even Sir Julius Walker in some of these prelim spots, but Touchy Feely is going to be in play here. Fluffy Hernandez. It's going to be a lot of fun for these fights. You'll see on the side, we've got 3 we're going to get to. We're going to have MMA Jeff break it down here, getting us in some of these later prelim spots out there. I believe we're in this case here, Jeff. Looks like you're going to take us home with some potential money. How you getting paid?
Yeah, we got this bantamweight bout with Elijah Smith and Toshimi Kazuma. I think this is going to be a pretty exciting fight. You got Kazuma, 28 years old. He's a Japanese fighter who fights BJJ style. He's 11-4 as a pro. He's coming in after a performance of the night win by a round 2 triangle choke, which was pretty solid against Gregorio. That also gave him his first UFC win. The guy doesn't have a whole lot of UFC experience or fighting against the better class of fighters. Prior to that performance of the night win, he did have back-to-back round 1 KO losses, potentially has some chin issues. We'll see. He was ripping it up in some of the regional smaller promotions, and then he gets to the UFC. He's 1-2. Again, not a terrible fighter in my opinion. He's typically a grappler. He doesn't mind spending time on his back, hence the BJJ style. He doesn't have a whole lot of punching power. He's got 3 KO wins, but again, against some regional opponents, he just doesn't seem to have a lot of the striking. He again much prefer to stay on his back. He's certainly going to want to get this one to the ground, in my opinion. Over half his wins have come by submission. So he's certainly dangerous on the ground. He might have a hard time against Elijah Smith here. Smith on the other side of things, he's got the slight height and very slight reach advantage. He's sitting at 8-1 as a pro with a 1-0 UFC record. He came in after a great performance against a much more experienced Vince Morales back in February. I say, much more experience. Morales has been around for a long time, and Smith ended up getting the unanimous decision win. So, he dominated. I don't say dominated. He performed well enough that he impressed the judges to get the UNAM win. This kid's just 22 years old. He's shown the speed. He can get in and out. He can certainly get takedowns, hence his speed. He's got power. Look at all his KOs he's got. He's got grappling ability. And like I said, the ability to take opponents down using his speed. He throws a decent volume of strikes, and he lands just under, as you see on the screen there, 41%. So his striking's pretty decent. And again, with the power behind it, he's certainly going to wait for those. He'll throw the jab out there and wait for that connection on the other hand. And that 1-2 of his is pretty badass. This is the kind of fighter that the UFC does want to see. The striking that he possesses. They want to see this action. They want to see these KOs. They want to see the ability to take guys down and get up. They don't want to see that just drop them down to the ground and lay on them. I think this fight might bring a lot more attention to him than he already has at this point. But either way, I see this being a pretty fast fight right off the gate for as long as it lasts anyways. I see Kazama looking to get this to the ground, but I think Smith's going to use his power and speed to prevent the takedowns. And ultimately, I see Smith throwing a jab or two, and then, like I said, connecting with a solid shot right on Kazama's chin. Smith should be Smith should coast to victory in this one as a -700 favorite. I think personally he's going to get this one done in round one, and I think he's going to get it done by KO in round one. So I'm taking this -700, and I'm going to shoot Smith KO round one at +175. Let's go, Smith. Knock his head off. Mike's bringing us to the Johns Matsumoto fight. I think that's the second one on the main card. Mike, what are you going with in this?
Absolutely, Jeff. Johns Matsumoto going to be an interesting bantamweight fight. And look, early splits, they love this favorite here in John Matsumoto. 72% of the money looks early action identifying coming in on this guy. And I guess at first I can kind of get it. He's the younger fighter. You look at his pedigree, kind of the thing I look for. He's in the developmental programs in the LFA, right? He goes from LFA to Dana White Contender Series, goes out there and gets himself a win, gets himself the opportunity to move forward in his UFC career. And, he goes out, he takes out Dan Argueta, got a nice little submission guillotine, takes Brad Katona. Now, as the competition gets more fierce, starts getting a little longer, gets a decision. It's a UNAM decision 9 months ago. 5 months ago, he takes on Rob Font, and he takes that split decision loss. More or less what happened in that spot was he took a late clip, got a little blood on him, and kind of swayed some of those judges' scorecards. And I think when we look at Vegas, what they don't want to see is they don't want to see a lot of wrestling. They want to see a lot of grapple or a lot of, striking, right? We talk about violence. They want to see action. I don't know if submission might be fine, but at the end of the day, you're going to want to stand and bang. And I think that's something that the Muay Thai guy here does in Matsumoto. I just get frustrated with that Muay Thai. It's that chop the tree. You're just constantly working those legs. And I guess you're successful if you can get the guy off kilter. On the flip side of things, though, when you look at Miles Johns, Chapo, it's going to chap a lot of people up this week when they start to fade him, because you look at his most recent fight, Felipe Lima takes a UNAM decision loss. And if you look back at his pedigree, yeah, he almost falls outside of that 7-year window that we certainly don't want to be a part of. But he fights better at 135, not 145. And if you look at that Felipe Lima spot, that's exactly where he was positioned to be. And I think this is one of those spots where, yeah, he's got to take a little bit more weight cut, but when he fights down at 135, he wins. Again, the eye, if you just look at it really quick, you see that loss, you say, man, that was ugly, and they're both coming off a loss, and this guy's younger, so I'll take him. But you can't discount that. And I think this is one of those spots where we probably see these guys go deep. They probably both exhibit decent cardio. The problem I have with Johns is he's kind of an idiot. He's got that wrestling background, and I mentioned the judges aren't going to want to necessarily see that at the Apex, but he's powerful. When he swings to find the button, and I think that's where the damage meter can come into play. And Matsumoto has clearly shown that he can wear some damage, and I think that's what Johns does to him here. I think the wrong guy is in the favor position in this case. I think we got a situation where we're going to take a big dog in Johns at plus 260. I think it goes deep. They both should have decent cardio when it comes down to it. But I think when it comes to showing the blood, I think that's going to be a spot where Matsumoto likes to be aggressive. He throws a lot of punches, but look at his, you look at his absorption rate. He almost takes more punches in than he gives out. And that's a bad combination when you're looking at a potential decision situation. I like Johns. I think Johns by decision is a really good look. Johns probably by split decision. It's going to be a tight fight. I think it's an evenly matched battle. But at plus 260, I'm going to take a shot with Johns here in the dog roll and see if we can't make a big score. We're going to go on to Subhuman Gaucho. He's going to try to give us a big score, and he's going right to the big event, the final showcase. And it's Subhuman Gaucho breaking it down for us.
Well, good stuff, boys. I've got some similar reads on those fights, so nice to see we are all aligning pretty well. So main event time, and then we can turn our attention to the Dana White Contender Series, hopefully after a big win here. So, Fluffy main event, 5-rounder. This is usually a great Fluffy spot, and he's been on a great run. Everybody loves Fluffy. He's, just the craziest motor outside of maybe Merab Dvalishvili. Probably not quite as talented as Merab, but then again, it's hard to keep up with a motor like his, especially at this middleweight weight class where just about everybody slows down in 3-round fights, let alone 5-round fights. So, if this one goes deep, you got to think there's a pretty good chance that Fluffy Hernandez is going to win 3, 4, 5, certainly above 50%. On the other hand, I think this is a tough matchup for Fluffy. I think this is probably his toughest matchup that he's seen in the UFC, just style-wise. Roman Dolidze, not a great striker, but the he throws bricks, man. He's got some real power on the feet. And, Fluffy, especially early in fights, he's kind of a slow starter. I think he will get touched up here a bit. And his durability, not great, especially the body. And some of Dolidze's best weapons on the feet are his knees to the body. We've seen him in fights against other grapplers, such as Kyle Dawkins, with those knees. But the grappling here is going to be really interesting, especially early while Dolidze is fresh. We saw Dolidze in other 5-round fights where he did slow down immensely. I'm thinking of like the Imavov fight in particular. But, he's not a punk. He's not just going to give up or fold or throw in the towel. He will keep fighting, even if he's going to slow down. So, I think just as Fluffy's likely to win 3, 4, 5, I think that Roman Dolidze has everything he needs to win 1 and 2, and quite possibly to win in rounds 1 or 2. This is definitely, I think, the hardest BJJ matchup that Fluffy has seen so far, and that's saying a lot because he is a guy that fought and even beat Rodolfo Vieira. Extremely impressive win. Rodolfo, very, very accomplished BJJ player. But, you go back and watch that fight. I mean, Rodolfo's having a ton of success. He's mounting Fluffy. He's, kind of big brothering him early before he just completely death gasses. Dolidze has a bit of a different BJJ game. Maybe not as accomplished as Rodolfo Vieira, but I think Roman Dolidze has the nastiest guard at this weight class. And he's going to have to use it for sure in this fight because I think if this goes late, he is going to be taken down an awful lot. And perhaps, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez can just rinse and repeat and run him through the spin cycle. It's certainly plausible, but at close to 3-1, I think Dolidze is extremely live in this match. And I tell you what, I am not taking Fluffy at that sort of a number, especially when he's a guy that often drops early rounds and early minutes in fights. But, Fluffy, he's going to put that guard to work. He's a guy that will drop for leg locks. And people, they kind of get Fluffy a little bit mixed up because he's not a great BJJ guy. He's a guy that really wears people out. And, as I said, he has just this legendary motor. But when you speak in terms of who's the better BJJ player, it's Roman Dolidze, and it's really not even close. So, yeah, give me a Roman Dolidze plus 280. I think this is probably the best we're going to see all week. It got to plus 310 at one point. I was able to get in at plus 285 the other day, but I expect we will see some big sharp action on Dolidze at one point, even if everybody's going to be parlaying up the the main event favorite and taking those 3, 4, 5 props, which I can't really talk anybody off of. It's a kind of a great system bet with Fluffy, but in the end, give me the dog here. I think Roman's gonna shock some people this weekend. All right. Until then, best of luck, everybody.
Great job, gentlemen. Thank you guys all for checking this out. You'll see the recap on the side with Smith KO round 1, Johns, Delidze, big battles, big price tags. Don't forget to consider the parlay, putting all 3 of these together, because it's going to be a monster score. We're going to have a monster Saturday. We've got all kinds of fun sports going on. Early start means a relatively early finish. So plan ahead, get ready. Make sure you leave a comment in the post after the video. Tell us your favorite fight of the night. Tell us if you're going to tail. Tell us if you're going to fade. But make sure you smash that thumbs up button. Good luck with your betting. Follow MMA Jeff 19 on X. Follow my guy Subhuman Gaucho on X. And you can follow me at PimpSlapPOD. Until next time, good luck, good betting. Let's see some violence this weekend. Good luck, everybody.
I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Is that twice this week? Sports betting, Patrick the Groovy Alien. Don't make me put you in timeout. I'll tell you this. As I was saying, some of you guys are resistant to change, and that's okay. I told you yesterday, we want to be early adopters and embrace change. Around these parts, we're going to pop off with a little pre-show. It's like a little intro to the show. That intro is going to be the content that we've put together for you guys, whether you watch it on your own or you come back in here and watch it. I know some of you guys don't have time to watch it, and there's a lot of things going on. But it's important you know, whether it's Ramon's show in the morning or it's my show at 6 p.m., we're back here hitting the play button, and that means that we see all of the comments. So some of you guys got your panties in a bunch. Now you know. Here you go. Now you know. This is the way we're going to pop it off, but it's going to be fun. And you guys are either going to have to watch the 15-minute show and or just come in at 6:05, 6 o'clock, whatever the case may be. You know the deal. It takes people time to stagger in. And then what happens? When they stagger in, they're like, wait, did you cover this game already? Yeah. It's the first game on the card. We go sequentially, and then it's just disruption. So after several years of doing this, this is the way that works the best. You trusted me for your sports picks? Trust in me for strategy and programming. How about that? Did give out a winner for those that support me, that support us, the Silver and Gold Club and the Win Club. Got the under 9 this morning in the Oakland game, where I guess it was at like what, high noonish, 12:30, something like that. So we're going. I looked at the card today. I thought, man, all of these games could go under. So I parlayed them together. I actually teased up the Seattle and White Sox game. I think it was an 8. Dropped to a 7. So then I bet the over 7. So it's 2-2. I'm guaranteed 5. Can we find at least 2 more runs? Can we find at least 2 more runs? That'll be the question. But I'm ready to go. Like I said, we've got only 2 baseball games. I've got a parlay and a play. Both dog spots. Which dog? You'll have to see for yourselves. 2 of them. Oh, I gotta do something better with this mic arm. Then we've got the WNBA. I've got a play in all 3 of the WNBA games for you guys. Some interesting trends, some stats to go along with it. I've got 4 plays for preseason football. 3 games, 4 plays. How about that? There's some action. Not getting crazy, just got some complementary trends. Some spots I was looking at from the beat writers. And we'll finish it off with a BC Lions, Hamilton Tiger Cats, also known as the Ticats for the CFL. That means we have 9, 10, 11 plays for a small card. Spent all day looking at it. It only makes sense that we get after it. And I'm excited for it. Now, last night, kind of back and forth. We had a winning day all in all. We went up just under 7 units, give or take, carry the 1. And that's what we want to do. So that makes 3 powerfully winning shows this week. 3 powerfully winning cards this week. Ultimately, what was it? 4.9 on Monday. 4.7 on Tuesday, or I might have flipped them around. And then 5.5 yesterday. What went well for us? Well, cashed again in the WNBA. That's been going well for us. That continues to be the cash cow for us out there. The Vegas Aces. Whether you got 5 or it moved to 5.5, 5 by game time, 5.5 at showtime. They won by 6. I always say before with the WNBA, it's a sharply capped sport. You want to be at the end of the movement, not at the beginning. Well, suppose if you get overnight lines, you could do just fine. The White Sox, what a heartbreaker. Lost that game by 2. I did play the plus 1.5. Didn't matter. I lost 6-8. And then the worst part is I had Lou Bob as one of the guys to get an RBI, and they had runners on first and second in the bottom of the 9th inning with 2 outs. Lou Bob comes up to the plate, and I was like, oh, man, I might be able to sneak in this RBI. No. And we lost the first 5. We lost the White Sox plus the half in the first 5. They got schlubbed 7-2. That was the old baby seal treatment. The under 9.5 was an easy cash 3-2 final. Padres come back late in that game to pick up the dub. The under 8. I knew that Atlanta game was sus. Everybody's looking at Atlanta. Look at these Braves. Why are they the favorite? They're so bad. The Brewers. And we didn't want to get in the way of that Brewers win streak. They were plus money. What a gift. What a gift. Took the under 8 instead. It ended up with the 9. 5-4 final. Lost. Didn't matter what under or the Brave side. They're still losers. We did split, but we made some profit. We got a little bit of profit on the Kansas City side of things. Kansas City Royals plus 123. 7-3 final got to 10. So the Royals in the under 9 parlay for almost 3-1 did not cash. And what did I say about Oakland? Don't like taking Oakland as a favorite. In fact, so against taking Oakland as a favorite yesterday, and I did it anyways and took the L, that I had to go to the side today, or to the total today. Couldn't play that spot. So in any event, it was a pretty good day. any day that we can continue to build like that, move it forward. Think about it. If you're a $10 better, look, I know everyone plays with a different bankroll. I'm not going to unit shame anybody. I appreciate you guys all taking a stab and believing in what we do here. But think about it. Yesterday, if you're a $10 better, you picked up $55, 5.5 times your unit size. Over the course of this week, you're up about 14 times your unit size. Well, maybe more than that. Maybe I'm off. In any event, it's big money. $100 bettors, you guys are feasting. $200, $500, $1,000 bettors, we're all eating. And this week is great because I'm excited to transition into the football season. And then right around the corner comes the NBA and the NHL. I know how much you guys like the NBA. I like the NHL. I think I made a lot of hockey bettors out there. 65 unit season in the NHL. So I'm excited. You guys, going to be a lot of fun. We've got a big weekend coming up. The UFC stream starts around 420 on Saturday. 420 Saturday will pop off for UFC at the Apex. 12-fight card now, as we saw with the video between the MMA VB show and the show that you just saw. Give you guys 5-6 fights. Lots of different ways to attack that UFC card. That's half the card. As we move forward, we'll have the NFL preseason to talk about for Saturday. We'll have Major League Baseball. We'll have WNBA. We'll talk some NASCAR. We'll talk some golf. We'll talk it all. You name it, we'll get after it. That's what we do here on a regular basis. So I know you guys know that, but I like to repeat it for the newbies, for the noobs that are checking us out, looking to get paid. And shout out to Ashley Bathia. 8 under. Takes off at the FedEx St. Jude. There's always one guy that screams up the leaderboard. Tommy Fleetwood at 7 under. Admirable for Thomas Fleetwood. Fairway Jesus, as they call him. The Brits are attacking like nothing we've seen since 1776. Fleetwood's in second. Harry Hall's in third, tied with Justin Rose. Are the French going to save us? Vive la France! I don't know. But I know I'm excited, you guys. Just about thinking of the direction ahead and what we have coming down the pike. All the action at our disposal. And I'm ready to talk about this card. So let's do it. Let's get to it. Let's have ourselves a night. Let's bless the action by smashing the thumbs up button. That's the best way to support us here. In show, you smash the thumbs up. Post show, you leave a comment. And if you want to support us, you want to pay it forward, you want to help us keep the lights on, you can do so by becoming a silver or gold member. Shoot on over to Winnable. Never miss the plays. You got to turn notifications on any way it goes because you don't want to miss the action when it drops. Winners, and more winners, but now's the time to smash that thumbs up and we'll rifle through this card and get everybody on with their Thursday evening. How about that? Let's go. All right. All right, indeed. Let's talk some action. Let's see what you guys have for your action. Let's go through these comments and see what you guys are messing with tonight. Where are we going to fuck around and find out? That's what we're here to find out. And we're going to shout out Gorky popping off the top. Appreciate Gorky coming in here, dropping his action. He likes the Ticats in regulation. That's the CFL with the Mariners. That's the MLB for our guy Gorky. He likes the Elks money line, giving us a sneak peek on some CFL action. Likes the Red Blacks, the Ottawa Red Blacks. There's Markel. There's Redbeard. So since Winston do we start early? Since yesterday. Did a little brainstorming with Ramon. Thought it was a good idea. Said, let's do it. Let's roll with it and see where it gets us. AJ's in the house. There's sports betting Patrick, the groovy alien. AJ, ready to go. It's the first strike video from the other night to the UFC this weekend, Redbeard. Now you guys can see it. This 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row. Got you guys golf yesterday. Give you some UFC today. You'll probably see UFC again tomorrow. So get ready. Andrew G got it. He was here yesterday. He heard the deal. New programming to serve you better. And Cedric says the same thing. Just did the same thing yesterday. We are creatures of habit, aren't we? Let's go. Much appreciated Anteater's Chronicle. Says, Sub, what's up, brother? Thought you vanished. Sub's been revamping the way he bets, man. He's been doing some things a little different. Lovable Places, so technically he ain't early, huh? Peace, y'all. We'll see you, Lovable. You know you're not leaving. You know you want this WNBA gold. Let's go. Let's see what you guys have to say. Under for the A's and the White Sox by Just a Teen Rock. AOD says his name is Sub. There's Redbeard. Says not recommended. What's not recommended? What's not recommended? Betting on the Mets. Anteater says Pirates. First 5 innings, something Mike got them khakis in the the harbor. You got the harbor? Sports betting Patrick says, when does the show start? Same time every week, you guys. Just got to roll with the punches. That's all. Just be a sponge. So absorb it all. Take it all in. Lovable Plays says this Brady Singer, 8Ks. Not sure if he's going over or under. Maybe he's still here to tell us. Robert McCormick says, good evening. Andrew G's giving the shout out. Let's go. Yeah, I was muted. I flubbed it and dubbed it. You know, I almost never mute either. That's the craziest part about it. But it's all right. Let's go. A lot of comments about being muted. Blake M. Redbeard says over under 4 minutes. Let's go. Does anybody have any actionable intelligence in the chat for us here? Is there anything that we can bet? Lots of smack talking. I like smack talk. I'm eager for smack talk. Says lives for preseason ball, says Redbeard. Andrew G says 15 minutes late. I show 15 minutes late. Show starts at 6. Show starts at 6. I don't know why you guys got to think a little bit. Got to loosen up. Just do one of these. Loosen up a little bit. It's Thursday. Thursday's connected to Friday. Then we're at the weekend. DJ Hardy's got some action for us. He says over 55.5 should be around 64 points. There we go. Anteater likes the Fever money line. We love the WNBA because them dogs are live. I'll give you a sneak peek. I think the Connecticut Sun are live tonight. Dana Delps here. Rose Miller. How do you feel about a black guy joining the team? I don't care if you're fucking purple or neon green, dude. We don't discriminate or hate. We love women, dude. Reach out to me on X. Matter of fact, I prefer you to be neon green. What else is neon green? Do you see the way they changed the bag policy in W now? Oh, man. Stop Geo says, shit, got my eye on tomorrow's MLB card already. Blue Jays 135-ish. Got to be looking ahead. Always got to look ahead. Hey, speaking of looking ahead, look ahead to tonight. KBO, 2-0-1 last night. I gave out 2 free plays. If you're not signed up for Winnable with the free plays, I don't know what you're doing. One of them was a 2-1 parlay, cashed with ease. The other one was a total under, cashed. I think it stayed under by like 2 or 3 runs. And then we lost, unfortunately. Big bottom of the 9th runs from the NC Dinos. Lost that one. Okay, I see. Lovable Plays says he's got at least 8. So he's got the over 8. T-Smooth, under in the Raiders game. Got it at 37.5. Trevor Davis got the Tiger Cats at -2.5. Lovable Play says, is Ashton Jennings getting into play tonight? Genty is, from what I could see, is getting in play tonight. Absolutely. Let's go. Let's do it, you guys. Let's talk some baseball. Let's knock, no pun intended, let's knock the ball out of the park. The Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates. What do we know about today? It's Paul Skeens Day. It's Paul Skeens Day. It's Paul Skeens Day. Listen, Paul Skeens doesn't get run support. We know that. Where tonight's game becomes interesting, you got a lot of sharp bettors betting on the Reds. The -180 Pirates moved down to -168. 58% of the bets and 59% of the cash came in on, well, 58% of the bets came in on the Pirates. 59% of the cash came in on the Reds. Let me make that distinction. 58-59. Split. House divided. Public's betting on the Pirates. It's Paul Skeens Day. Bigger bets coming in, taking the. I think this is one of those spots where they could give a shit who's against Paul Skeens. They just want that plus 150 because they know Paul Skeens doesn't get run support. And this total's dropping like a rock. It's almost auto play the over. Is every game going to go under today? I started off the show saying I thought every game was going to go under today. I parlayed them all. I don't know. Now I see this full run line movement. I'm like, oh man, let's see what the first 5 looks like. So we have 71% of the bets on the over, 52% of the cash on the under. The under won. They won. But now it's one of those spots where it's like, are you chasing steam now at this point? Are you trying to get there? The first 5 hasn't moved. Okay. First 5 sitting at 3.5. So I'm going to add a play too. I'm going to add that first 5 under 3.5. The Cincinnati Reds. I talked about this with the Cubs profile in the Cincinnati game. Cincinnati ain't scoring. They're like 2-14 to the under. Struggle bus. Just not getting the bats on the ball. And now it's Paul Skeens Day. So I suspect that will continue. The challenge in that equation comes down to Brady Singer. Brady Singer has been, I don't know, not good, I guess is the short way to say it. Watch these fucking White Sox win today, by the way. A day after you play, you know. Now you know why I go after things 2 or 3 times. Like touching the hot stove. I know it's hot, but kind of liked it. Brady Singer's got a 5.73 road ERA. But he did come off a good start. And, you know, this is kind of where you got to look at it and see. I've told you before, things happen in bunches with these pitchers, right? Plays against Miami, gets hit for 7 times, 5 innings, 2 runs. Plays against Colorado, both home games. Goes into the 7th inning, gets hit 7 times, gives up 3 runs. Left him in too long, arguably, in that game, but he was playing well. Then he goes up against Washington, road game after 2 back-to-backers. Struggles, gets pulled in the 3rd inning. 7 earned runs. They work on it. They adjust a couple of things. He goes into the 8th inning against Tampa Bay. 3 hits, 1 earned run. Then he plays Atlanta. Goes into the 6th inning, gets hit 4 times, doesn't surrender a single run. I'm comfortable with this first 5 under. That's play number 1. First 5 under, 3.5 to pop this card off. Also, though, worth noting, I parlayed good old Paul Skeens under 7.5. No, I'm not a hater. I just saw that they had a boost today. And where was that boost? It was on Paul Skeens to get over 7.5 Ks. Begging you to take it. He should be easy. He should mow him down. I don't think that's happening. I parlayed the Steelers to win, or the Steelers, the Pirates to win this game with Skeens under 7.5 Ks. That was plus 225. If you're looking to break it apart and you said you just wanted to do 1, then I would tell you to take the Pirates -1. Not the 1.5. Now, there's varying schools of thought on this run line. The first school of thought is, well, if you're taking the home team, you don't lay the 1.5 because they might not pitch in the 9th inning, or they might not bat in the 9th inning. So you're only getting 8 at-bats. And do you want to take the run line with a team like Pittsburgh to be blowing out a team like Cincinnati going into that 9th inning? So I support that. I like home teams -1. I don't mind the road team if I'm laying the run line. Take the road team on the road line because I know I'm batting in the 9th inning regardless, even if we're already busting them up. But even if you take that -1 with the home team and they're up going into the 9th, it's that dreaded comeback. They're down 4-2 and you're winning that run line bet. And then all of a sudden the 9th inning rolls around and there's a meaningless bullshit hit that, you know, pops you in the jaw. And now it's a 4-3 game. You just lost the run line, dude. So it gives us the push. It's kind of like that hockey strategy. That's kind of the way that I attack those run lines, home versus road. Now, obviously, if it's like I was thinking today for all those poor fuckers that played Seattle yesterday, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like you can't, I mean, you can, but I wouldn't lay runs and odds, right? The old mentor back in the day used to say, you can't lay runs and odds. You got to take the adjusted meter. Well, if you did that, you took -2.5 for the Seattle game yesterday and you lost. So home team, that comeback in the 9th inning, the White Sox popped it out. So you take the White Sox -2, you pushed. And it was still somewhere around -110 for that -2, -105. So just a little theory, just a little theorem that I like to apply to the way that I approach the sport. A lot of experience playing and betting on these sports tells me that some of these opportunities give us the best shot to crash and cash. And I think this is a spot for us here tonight. So if you only wanted to do one, you didn't believe, if you don't want to get into the Paul Skeens mojo, I don't know why you wouldn't. You want to look at Paul Skeens K's, just a quick run down the card here. He came off an 8 and a 9. That was against Colorado and Arizona. Prior to that, 6-2, 6-5. He ain't getting the 7.5. So for what it's worth, that's the way I would approach that game. That's the way I like to attack. Game number 2 is the Atlanta Braves, the Miami Marlins, and NL East battle with revenge on the mind here. The Atlanta Braves opened up at +104. They sat around +114, 115 all afternoon, and then some late action here within the last hour rolled in on this at Miami Marlins side of things. The Marlins, 67% of the bets, 82% of the cash on Miami. -122, now -132. House divided again on the totals. 71% of the bets on the over, but 60% of the cash on the under. The story of this game has to be the Yuri Perez, Cookie Carrasco situation. Cookie, we know what happened to Cookie. He got dropped like a bad habit. And he got picked up by said Atlanta Braves. And I'll tell you, they're not dropping the guy because he's out there beating the world. Not this guy. Not in this case. Excuse me. He was a Yankee. First, he was a Met. A couple years ago, he was an auto fade for us as a Met. Then he rolled into Yankee land with the pinstripes, and he struggled. 4 innings, 5 innings, 4 innings, 3 innings out there. Giving up runs, producing runs. Makes me nervous with the under in this game. I know I said I thought they were all unders, and I told you I put that parlay on it. But looking at his last performance, that was against the Reds. It was on the road. They're all road games for the guy, right? Because he just got traded or just got acquired. But he went 6 innings. Why? Predominantly, I think it's because that Reds team can't hit the ball. 3 earned runs given up, only 1 homer. And look, I like that kind of trajectory. Yeah, it says he's 2-0 at home, but I mean, what could he going to do with that? Now, the story on the other side is Yuri Perez. Yuri Perez has been a machine. Not only has he been a machine, if you're betting on Yuri, you're making some money. If you look back at it here, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Had to load it up. Sorry. Wrong screen was up. Wrong screen. Yuri Perez shuts him down. Lined is less than a -145. If he recorded less than 7 Ks his previous game, the under prevails. 11-0 to the under, which is where Yuri Perez is in this position today. In other words, not his finest effort, and he comes back. Now, it's hard to say that it's not his finest effort because he did go 6 innings. He got hit twice. He gave up 5 strikeouts. In all fairness, that was against the Yankees, and they did shut him out 2-0. So, Yankees are in trouble, no doubt about it. I get it. All you guys that were saying, oh, they're not going to make the playoffs. It was right from the start of the season. The number 1 team in the AL East not to make the playoffs was the Yankees. The number 1 team to win the AL East was the Red Sox. Keep that in mind as the Red Sox continue to smash. They didn't smash last night. We got that Kansas City spot. But in any event, as I looked at this game, are we going to see all favorites? I don't buy it. How about this? Because they see each other so consistently, they have a lot of experience with one another. When the Braves lose a game and they got a night game against the Marlins, they win that next game. Doesn't matter who they played before. Now, they're just 3-17 as a dog, and they're getting outscored 5.7 to 3.3 in their last 20 games. That is a losing ROI for sure. They dropped 5 in a row, in fact. So it's not for the faint of heart, but look, there's a couple things going on. The home team in divisional games tends to roll out and win game number one. They're winning at about a 62% clip. The Atlanta Braves at home versus in a division, so kind of play on that same stat in game one. They're 10-5 in those positions, the Atlanta Braves. So no, I don't think it's going to be all favorites. I think this is a good shot for the Atlanta Braves. I don't love the number. I mean, I wish it was better, but I'll tell you what, I learned my lesson from Oakland yesterday. I'm not taking a shot. I'm not taking a swing with them boys. Not getting in the game on the Marlins as a favorite. Not on the road, not against the division. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But for me, this is an opportunity to take advantage, smack these boys in the mouth, take this Atlanta Braves team, feel comfortable that you got yourself a nice little plus money spot with a team that ain't all that bad. They're not good. But that was a tough series they just came off of. You know, they didn't look great doing it either. There's no question about it. But look, it's the Brewers. I compare the Marlins aren't the Brewers. This is a step down in class and then some. So them Astros that were struggling went out there and found a way to carve up some runs on the Marlins. So I would lean to the over and I would lean to the Braves. I'd lean to the Braves team total over. Surprising as that may sound. And you got to take a look at guys like Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna. I mean, if someone's going to score it, it's got to be one of them big bats. They can't just keep having mediocre output time and time again. It's not working. You know, if you look at, I was just going to look really quick. If you look at some of these starting lineups, you get into what's happening with this Marlins and Brave spot. Marcell Ozuna, 667 against Yuri Perez. Michael Harris, 500. Not a lot of at-bats. You know, I like a bigger sample size. But Marcell Ozuna dunked me last night on the RBI. And if he doesn't get it the first day, he probably gets it the second day. So there's a little RBI lean for you guys as well. But there's two guys that I think are making some solid contact with the ball. Let's go into some WNBA. We got quite a few WNBA games to get into. I'm going to give you some action in all three of them. Don't get the cash flow splits as much, but I think I found a way to work around. I think I found a workaround. Let's look. Yes. We're gonna piece together two systems to try to come up with a look at what the fuck's going on here, because we don't get the percentage of bets and percentage of cash from the folks of Action. But I can tell you that 82% of the bets are coming in on the Atlanta Dream, 18% on the Chicago Sky, the Dreamer minus 10.5. In fact, there's some 11s. They opened up at 8. So it's correlated. The big thing for me with the Sky game in this spot is two things. One, they just came off of somehow a win. You know, it's funny. That was the coach getting fired game. So we stayed off the coach getting fired spot, right? Because we know that shit happens. And team that doesn't have any business winning wins. Their team total was 75. They had missed it the game before that. I think they missed it the game before. They've been missing their total. They have been missing cashing on their team total with Angel Reese out of the lineup. The under's been cashing with Angel Reese out of the lineup. They had the Mystics. It was at home. So they had 3 straight home games. Going for number 4. They're 5-10 at home. And the Dream are 8-7 on the road. Now, it's a big number. But the thing I like to look at here is that star player coming back theory. It's not Angel. She's out indefinitely till the fucking, I don't know when. I don't know. But Atkins should be back in. She was at shoot around. The performance, the rule is, or the rumor was she should be playing back in here tonight. So when you re-inject that star player, I don't want any part of that team. I like the unders in this spot quite a bit. But I look at, since the All-Star break, the Atlanta Dream. The Atlanta Dream, don't forget, that's the team that rolled up into Seattle, snuck a win, and they beat the shit out of the Sky twice, an average of 25 points a game. So home or road, I'm not sure it matters. You also have the star player coming back in this game. I laid the 10. 10, I think that's fair. It's a little juice now. There's minus 112s and minus 115s on the 10. But I'm going to lay the 10 against the Sky. I like the under. I have a strong lean to the under. Redbeard says betting unders been gold by quarter. I like that play. What is this? Just a Teen Rock says just put a plus 11,000 in on Carrasco plus 102. 1 earned run. Is that what that is? I like that. Redbeard says not saying the Braves win, but it's hey, you're an NL East guy. Devin Moore's in the house. What's up, Devin Moore? Lovable place as Perez is going over also on K's. I could see that. I think that's fair feedback. J Main likes Brianna Jones under 6.5 rebounds. All right, so I'm laying the 10. Man, we have been literally, what are we, 7-1 in our last 8 WNBA games? We're cooking. We're cooking with fish oil. Never understood what that meant. It sounds gross. Sounds like it might smell. Sounds like the house might smell if you're doing that. The Connecticut Sun, the LA Sparks, a big win for the LA Sparks the other day. We had the first half where I wasn't buying into their full game spot with the Sparks. They got the Connecticut Sun on deck. I already gave you the sneak peek in the preview of the show. I think the wrong team might be favored. Yeah, with a 10 or 11. Crazy shit. As much to say that because that was a big win. The Sparks have won 4 of their last 5. That's a 4-9 team at home. They just beat Seattle in double overtime. They had 3 days of rest. They fire off against the Fever at home, the Caitlin Clark-less Fever. 191's the final score in that game. And yet the Sun are the worst team in the league. 1-12. But here's the way I was looking at this one. They beat Golden State. It was at home. We know Golden State's the best road team or the best home team in the WNBA, but this was at home. This was at their home, not Golden State's home. And that was a revenge spot. So they exacted their revenge. Then they have Seattle, who came in and got pissed off that they lost at home to the Atlanta Dream. And they busted up the Connecticut Sun by 16 points, right? Then they play the defending champs, the New York Liberty. They beat them the first game after getting rolled by Seattle, who had revenge on their mind or a follow-up bounce-back spot. Then the New York Liberty, immediate revenge bounce-back spot, busted them up again. Then they play that Phoenix Mercury team that was coming off of feeling pretty damn good about themselves, starting to get healthy. Step down in class for the Connecticut Sun. First and foremost, step down in class. The Sparks are 3-10 against the spread at home. So home court don't really seem to matter to these girls. First, I like the over. The over's been smashing. 9-1 in its last 10 in Sparks games. But here's the thing. With the step down in class for the Connecticut Sun, I like the points. And the reason I like the points are because they're 0-8, the LA Sparks, when they're home favorites, 7 points or more, and they have less than 3 days of rest. And they just played all those big teams that I told you about. All with various degrees of motivation themselves. Now, if you do want to see the revenge narrative in play as well for the Connecticut Sun, they did get busted up by this LA Sparks team at home, 101-86. Now, granted, it's almost 2 weeks ago. The Sparks do come out there. They allowed, this one's tough. It's very much an open, relevant factor that contributes to the over in this game. 13-0 to the over if they allowed less than 92 points the previous game are the LA Sparks. 191. So, in all fairness, I'm going to side with the points in this game. I don't think the Sun go out there and throw up. I think, again, that step down in class, they can keep this within double digits. It's probably 4 or 5 point loss. Maybe they sneak out the dub. But I think this is way too wide. And I think it's just overinflating this bad team in the LA Sparks that found a way to be mediocre and make mediocre look good. So let's roll on. Last game I got for you guys in the WNBA. 3 games WNBA card. Firing in the WNBA card. Room to run. Redbeard says the Sun a good cover team. I agree. Lovable Place does not agree. Says this time it's 103-69. Okay. Just a Teen Rock. Play -10 in the under. If you don't mind, but this Cardi ain't I'm not sure what that is. Redbeard, you can't bring bags into the game anymore. No bags in the game. Done changed the rules for good in the WNBA. Now, I don't want to think about how you're going to smuggle one of those things in now. Indiana Fever. I got a fever. It's against this Phoenix Mercury. Caitlin Clark less Phoenix Mercury. I'm sorry, Indiana Fever, as I mentioned several times. And, for what it's worth, despite this is overinflation in the line. See, because what happens is they build the line in knowing that Caitlin Clark's not playing. The books know that. Then they announce it and it moves a couple points. And what's happened? Well, the Fever have just been winning. I told you guys several weeks ago that I think when it comes to the Fever, the way that Caitlin Clark likes to play on the ball versus the rest of those girls being in an assist-driven process, like they're better working the ball around the court. They've got the pieces to go out there and grind clock down and have a high effective or a high efficiency when it comes to scoring. And I think in this case here, you got to look at the dog. Yeah, the Mercury, we just talked about their situation. But you beat the sun in the sky. And you got a pissed off Fever team that just lost to one of the worst teams in the league in the LA Sparks. So there's a little motivation. We have intersecting zeros, though. That's the biggest thing for me. The Mercury, 0-9. If they come off a win of 9 or more points and had less than 22 assists. What does that mean? They were playing selfish ball, not passing it around, just abusing. Who were they abusing? Connecticut Sun. Aforementioned worst team in the league. Now the Fever find themselves in the dog position of less than 5.5 points. They already beat the team once. That was 107-101. In those rematch, not revenge. Revenge would be that they lost. This is rematch. They already beat them. Rested team, they already beat with less than 5.5 points. The Fever are 11-0 as a dog. Intersecting zeros, fading the Mercury after that selfish ball. Worst team in the league. Now playing the Indiana Fever, who play better without Caitlin Clark. And this line, by the way, has moved. This line moved from 6.5s to 4.5s. So we are getting towards the bottom of that steam move. Doesn't excite me. I would give a lean to the under because they just allowed 100 points to the LA Sparks. Now that LA Sparks team goes over, so you're inflating this number because they just had such a massive explosion to the over. You look at the previous games. Now, the last time they played the Sparks, that game went over for the Fever. We talked about the overs. They also played Phoenix at home to an over, 208 points. I suspect they come out and focus on some defense and keep moving that ball around. And the Mercury aren't going to be able to go run and gun the court because the Fever are passing the ball around, controlling it and watching that clock go tick, 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 tick. I may jump in and take a live bet or an extra bet there on the over, or the under rather. Under 173 is the number right now. But that's the way I'm going to play it. I'm going to take the 4.5. What do we got next? NFL preseason. Let's talk some preseason football. I'm just going to rapid fire this to you guys. There's not a lot going on here. We've made it. Mama, we made it. NFL streams streaming us, spamming us. That's how you know you made it. When you're looking for streaming advice, why not click on the guaranteed hack your personal identity spot in the in the program? All right. What am I trying to say? Trying to talk about some NFL preseason. I like to break down the preseason with two major factors. One is a team coming in with existing chemistry. Are the offensive and defensive coordinators different? That's a big factor. It takes a while to get things going. And is there a new coach? That's another factor that you want to address. I'll talk about some of those here tonight. This 35.5 total moved to 37.5. Eagles, Bengals, 66% of the bets, 59% of the cash. Now, the Bengals. Interesting little squad here. This line opened up at 2.5. It's shot to 6.5. They were dogs. Now it's a 9-point swing. 40% of the bets, 59% of the cash coming in on these Bengals. I took the Bengals first half. First half. 3.5. I told you guys to take it yesterday. Did you know? First half road chalk, 162 and 122. Applies to 2 games tonight. And I took the other one first half too. What do the Eagles have to prove? Nothing. They're going to rest their guys as long as possible. Maybe they give them a single drive type of situation, but you're not getting a lot out of the Eagles. They also have one of the best defenses in the league, not just my arbitrary assessment, but the league is weighed in, and I think they said they have the best defense in the league. So collectively, if you know you got all those pieces out there, you're not spending all your capital here waiting to risk it. You're expecting another Super Bowl run. You're not giving your guys a chance to get injured. And I think that opens up the opportunity for the Cincinnati Bengals with some of those new rookie draft pieces they have. Their draft pieces now are in skill positions. And I think they come out on fire. The problem I have with the point spread is that it's moved 9 points. New coaches do not win. But Zach Taylor doesn't win either. Now, this could be interesting because we'll talk a little bit about this with the Baltimore spot here in just a minute. We know about the Harbaughs. Zach Taylor in the preseason. That's the Cincinnati Bengals coach. He's 3-12 straight up. In the favorite role, he's 1-5 against the spread. So I'm going to cut the game in half with their better positions. Yeah, they're still jockeying around here, but you think about what's at stake, right? The 51, 52, and 53 men on the roster are what the Eagles are competing for right now. Special teams, third strings. And so those guys will get exposure against rookies and second string guys on the Cincinnati Bengals in terms of what they're trying out. So I'll take the first half. I did pop this together though. I know the lines have moved, so I'm trying to get away from it. It's kind of square, I guess, but I think the Bengals do end up winning the game. I just don't want to think of that's a lot of points in preseason to cover 6. Are they going to go out there and win by 10, or are they more likely to go out there and sneak a 2 or 3 point win? I think that's the case for the Bengals against the Eagles, and it's my Eagles, so I'm fading them. Yes, I parlayed them together with the Colts. I took the Colts in the first half for the same reason. Here's the difference between the Colts and the Eagles game. The Colts are trying out like everybody, right? They even have Anthony Richardson and Danny Jones. Now, there was rumor that Anthony Richardson was kind of a bust last year. He wasn't kind of. He was. He got hurt on top of it. He's not built like a Lamar Jackson, speaking of Baltimore. He should be the first guy to start. He just spout off his mouth saying if he was playing in a competition against Tom Brady that he would win, which is crazy. But the other side of things is Danny Jones is the backup. So there is a quarterback battle going on right now. That's important to note. And that's why I think that the fast start or the hotter start can happen because Baltimore, they're playing again for a Super Bowl. Now, the narrative for Baltimore, if you're just waking up, was they won 24 straight preseason games. That's over. They ain't doing that anymore. They're like 1-4, I think, in their last 5 is what that number works out to be. So they're like 25-4 after winning 24 straight. And that's because the coach isn't trying to prove himself anymore. Lamar Jackson, think about the pieces they have. King Henry, all of these weapons on offense. You're not going to risk an injury. And you got the Colts coming in fired up with starters and second string players going out there to thump them like a drum. So I'll take the first half again, riding that road chalk. That's the Colts, 162 and 122. And I'll buck the points. I'll take both these teams. I'm trading in that 6-pointer. 6.5 points now in the hook for money line plays to catch a -110. And then the last game in the NFL that we've got out there is that Denver-Seattle game. What am I saying? Denver-Vegas game. I'm sorry. There's so many Seattle factors going into this game that I was looking at it going, it's Denver and Seattle. I've been saying it all day too. It's not just like a recent anomaly. It's the Raiders in Seattle. Geno Smith for the Raiders. I love the Geno Smith quote. We're here to run the table, not roll the dice. I'm here to run the table, not roll the dice. I thought it was a great quote for being in Vegas, man. And yeah, the Genti factors out there for the Raiders. They said he's going to get some time. I was looking at this game and I was kind of contemplating what are we going to see here? What do I think happens? Well, The Raiders became a favorite. They went as high as 5.5, but now it's starting to come back. They're starting to catch some pressure the other side. And despite the Seahawks not expecting to have any starters playing, yes, you have the Raiders. There's that road chalk factor. So you got no Seahawks starters. You got an early game rolling with trying to figure out the Genty process and the Geno Smith coming back home. But I still like that little home team showing they got you situation. And I'm gonna take the points with this home team in this case here. Of all the games out there, I don't think all the favorites win. That's kind of the way I look at it. Which dog do I think has the best shot? The Raiders were never fucking really good at all. And you slapped a bunch of new pieces in there, and maybe they figured it out, but I expect this to be a backdoor cover. I think the second half's when the Seahawks rip the Band-Aid off and they start to expose this. Think about it. You got a lot of primary guys, a lot of guys trying for starting positions with the Las Vegas Raiders. Geno Smith's coming in, Genty, wide receivers, blah, 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 right? They have no depth. That's the problem with a team that brings in a quarterback and has been bad. You don't have any second and third line guys, second stringers and third stringers. You have to build that through free agency in the draft. And while they're drafting high, they use that draft pick this year in a running back, which probably will look back on it and determine that was a bad move because you can't just, it's like if you look now, I'm a Bills fan. The Bills built that offensive and defensive line to the frustration of a lot of people, including myself. Like, get a fucking quarterback at some point. Because they were trying the Tyrod. They were trying Tyrod Taylors. They were trying go back to the Rob John. Like, they just never had a guy to stick into that position. Then they pick up Josh Allen. But before that, they spent 4 or 5 years drafting offensive and defensive linemen. The most boring picks when you're watching your team in the NFL. But that's how you establish that depth so the players don't get hurt. And those offensive linemen open up holes, and those defensive linemen shut down holes. So in the second half, when it's third stringer versus third stringer, I think Seattle's a team that's got more to compensate and be able to exploit those holes and the lack of depth that this Las Vegas Raiders team has. So we'll see. Time will tell. One last game. I saw some of you guys looking at this CFL spot. Couple things with this game. Hamilton's on a hell of a winning streak right now. The Ticats have won 6 games in a row. They're averaging 32.5 points over the last 7, and their defense is holding teams to less than 26. It's a great winning formula. BC's lost 5 of their last 7. Why did this line start at 2.5? It went to 3. Now on game day, we're seeing pressure coming back the other way. Down to 2.5s. See, the Hamilton Ticats are one of the best teams and have a chance to win the Grey Cup this year for sure. But BC's had the better schedule. Strength of schedule, second highest in the league. They've lost 5 of their last 7, so they're used to playing banging thunder fucking storm matchups out there. But look at the under. It's 9-2-1 on the road. After a 2-game homestand with a bye, coming in ready to attack this team. The total, 54.5 is the average number we're seeing or higher on those unders. And this falls right in line. You might look at this and think this is a high total. This is where they play to the unders. And we've seen that the bye makes a huge difference out there. Yes, Hamilton's offense is clicking. They're 4-1 at home. I think BC has the back door. The thing I like about that and the reason why, James Butler. He should be able to ground and pound. He's coming back. He carries, he chews up clock, he chews up yards. And he's in a revenge spot. He was with the Ticats for 2 years. So they're going to want to use this guy, I believe, to kind of tick that clock on down. And I think that's a problem. Bo Levi Mitchell. Yeah, he chucks the ball around the yard. We know who Bo Levi Mitchell is. And that's the problem because the best defensive team out there, the best secondary in the CFL are the Lions. So if you got a guy that you want to run the game, you got to run heavy offense with a secondary that can lock you down. I think Bo Levi Mitchell's in trouble tonight. That being said, though, he's been chucking. He's got 300 or more yards in 3 straight games, 6 times on the season. There's no doubt about his effectiveness. So if they can shut him down, that makes them a live dog. I think the under stays in play again for all the aforementioned reasons out there. If you know that you're playing against the best secondary and you're in offense, what do? You run the ball. So you got running versus running with an inflated number on a team that's 9-2-1 to the under. I'm going to close the show with the under in this case here. I got the under 56. Look at this, everybody. We gave you guys a start. We gave you guys we gave us your UFC action. There it was, UFC. You got to see it. And we still finished before 7 o'clock, giving you guys, 9-10 picks in this case. It's going to be a big night tonight. I can feel it. I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are as well. I see my man Subhumans in there dropping some PFL action. Jot it down. Get ready to go. That's how we're going to put the bow on the show. Appreciate everybody rocking with us. Nicholas Handy, Fernando Mendoza, Sports Betting, Patrick, my guy Subs PFL action. Jeff Matthews says Harbaugh 0-6 last 2 years in the preseason, but 44-17 overall. Shout out to Justine Rock, Rose Miller. This is Mama, we made it. Shout out to Redbeard, Dana Delp. Shout out to NFL Game Streaming. Lovable Plays too. All you guys, Cedric, thank you guys all for being here. Jay Main. We'll be back here again to do it again tomorrow. You guys know the deal. 6 p.m. Andrew K. rocking with us. Thank you guys all for sharing your plays. Irish King. Love to see the action you guys are on. Dana Delp. Devin Elam Moore. Nathan Cerna. You guys rock, man. Without you guys, we would have nothing. So thank you much for showing up. Trevor Davis. T-Smooth in the house. Some new names, man. I appreciate you guys stopping in, checking us out. We've had a hell of a summer, and we're just getting ready to go. So good luck to everybody and their action tonight. Enjoy the card. Be responsible. Only a couple games. We got a wide card tomorrow. We can fire away. We can finger bang like you're sitting at a Phillies game. Be responsible tonight. Have some fun. Make some money. And I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. On behalf of the Sports Money crew, good luck. Tune in at 9 a.m. for the morning steam. It's your boy, Mikey Money. I'm inviting you to join the Sports Money crew on Winnable. Get all of our premium best bet selections.
For a low monthly cost, you get the very best bets delivered instantly to your phone by text the moment they're locked in. No delays, no missed lines, just the smartest plays at the best odds.
We do the work, you get the plays sent straight to your phone right when you need them.
Don't wait, don't guess, don't miss the line. Join the winning team today and start cashing tickets with Winnable.